Hi everybody, this is Lightstar and welcome to my channel. I have a super awesomely special guest for you today. I wanted to bring this beautiful lady on today who is going to share some information that I think is very important right now that you need to know on a spiritual level. And she goes by the name of Ms. M, and she'll talk a little bit about her background and what she is all about here, and bringing some awesome information from the galactic realms as well. So I thought this topic would be really interesting for you guys. So I'm just going to dive right in and introduce her, and she goes by the name of Ms. M, and we'll explain why. But first of all, I want to welcome you here. So thanks for being on my channel.
Thank you for having me. I am a huge fan of Lightstar.
Aw, thank you.
I was very excited when you asked me to do this because I knew I got to hang out with you.
Yeah, this has been a treat for me to have some new content on my own channel, so that's not just me, even though I know you guys are used to me having the light language activations, and that's awesome, and I will be having those as well. But this is just an intermission, if you will, of importance. It's almost like a special news break here, because there's some really strong, just a lot of cosmic waves that are coming through and things that are getting activated. And Ms. M has a really interesting background as well. So I'm going to have her share her background of what she, how she got to do what she's doing now, which is mediumship and also medical intuitive, and also connecting with the Galactics, and also in the financial realms as well, in the deep state and the deep disclosure. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but the focus is on our spiritual side of things to keep you guys enlightened and to awaken all of you out there. So let's talk a little bit about your background and how you got to do what you're doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I do like to focus a little more on the spiritual stuff because that's why I'm doing this. And that's what my calling is. So it's fun to be able to just focus on that and take a break from all the money stuff for a while. So a little bit about my background. Some of you may know me from my show, Deep Disclosure. That's hosted by Tolek from Dakota with my partner M. And on that show, we share a little bit about our lives and our experiences and the projects that we're currently working on. And I got into all of this because of my abilities as a medium, which were not always so prevalent. So I got turned on, basically activated by another medium that I was working with about 6 years ago when my father was dying of cancer. And the more time I spent in his field, the more it activated me, because essentially, even whether you're a medium or a clairvoyant or clairsentient or a channel or whatever it is that you're doing, it's all frequency. And so once you learn how to tune your body to different varying frequencies, then you can pick up information from different dimensional realities. And so that's what I do. And so I am predominantly a medium, which means I connect with crossed over loved ones, and also spirit guides if they come through. And usually spirit guides will come through if you're on a more spiritual path and you're doing that work, because I feel like that information's more earned information, and so they'll share it with you when and how they want to, and when it's relevant to your growth as a soul.
Absolutely. I have to say that Ms. M is an amazing medium. She's not just medium. She is an awesome. I've had personal experience with having session with her, and it was incredible. She definitely goes into other realms if that is, what's coming through. And one of the better mediums that I've had the pleasure of having come through for my own life as well. So those of you that want medium or like the mediumship and want to have crossed over loved ones, whether you're trying to just mend a relationship, the forgiveness, or just get in touch, she's awesome at that. But I want to actually touch on a little bit of that too, where in your experience, are there certain themes that are coming up from your session work with people, either the people that you're doing the sessions for or the information coming through for them?
Yes, I think there are some common themes coming through. Now, it's interesting because I am a medium, so I connect with crossed over loved ones, and that's what I enjoy doing. Honestly, it's because it gives you like a valid experience with the other side that is undeniable, and also helps to open a doorway for you to keep that spiritual connection going. And that's why I really enjoy doing it and helping people with gaining some closure and understanding that the bond of love is so strong that it cannot be blocked by living in two perceptive dimensional realities. Your loved ones can connect with you from anywhere in the multiverse based on that bond of love that you share. And so I really enjoy doing that. However, I've noticed that a lot of the people coming to me are looking for direction, and they want to know what their purpose is and what they're doing here, why they're on this crazy journey of human life. And so there are some things coming up around that, and I kind of want to just talk about it a little bit because this is a common question. What am I doing here?
Yeah, I believe you. I get it a lot. That's actually one of the things that I work with clients. So that is one of the things that we're always questioning. Why am I here? What am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing here? What's my purpose? And it's a really, especially right now, right? Yeah. Everyone's asking this right now.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with the global awakening that's happening, the global ascension that's happening. Yeah. That I suffered from what I called existential anxiety most of my life. So that question of what am I doing here? Why am I here in this place that is so at odds with how it should be in existence and harmony with nature and the spiritual experience of human life. And so that came from being awake at a young age, that I recognized that there was something wrong with the way that we were living as a species. And so that led to, why am I here? So I totally am sympathetic to these kinds of questions. But I think that the answer lies in a different place than many people are seeking. And that instead of asking, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose here? If you simply ask yourself, like, what can I do to serve? How can I help others? Yeah. Then in that lies your purpose, because we all have something to contribute to the growth and evolution of our species and the healing of our planet and our people. And so if you ask yourself how you can personally contribute to that, then you may have an idea of what your purpose here is. And when you are in service to others, there's something that's really satisfying about that, where you don't feel so much like you're wasting your life and you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So in a nutshell, your only job as a human is to be a good person.
Is the part human, right? The part human.
Yeah. Well, human is such a funny word, right? Because we're so many things.
Multidimensionally, it's much larger than what we actually even know about ourselves. But
absolutely,
I think that's it's such a great thing for people to focus on service, and that's truly how you find yourself. Sometimes is by service. And if you even ask other people, how do I help you? Just if you're not sure and you ask somebody else, like, what does my energy do when I walk into a room and you're in a room? And that gives you a little bit different perspective on what some of your purpose is based upon how you affect other people just in natural how you are with people. So I find that's also another great tool to be able to decipher what you're doing here. What your essence is, right? The essence of you, the essence of like what you bring to the table.
Well, at the root of everything, we're all one. And so we exist simply as a tool for each other to have an experience and for our souls to grow. And so you figure out how you serve others. And then that doesn't mean, becoming a walking doormat, because obviously there has to be some self-love and some self-care that is part of your existence. And this is I think the explanation, the reason for that for myself is that we are all awakening to the reality that we're all God. And so if we're all God, if I don't treat myself with unconditional love, then how am I treating my creator? And so we should treat ourselves the way that we deserve to be treated, and treat others in the same way.
That's a great point. I mean, it's really, it's all so simple, right? We talked about this before. We make things so complicated sometimes when it's just really simple, about really just knowing who you are and knowing how you treat other people, and being that kind, loving soul that, how you would want to be treated. It's really, a lot of it is just as simple as that when we step on that spiritual path. So, and I also want to mention that along with the mediumship, she also does medical intuitive, which does come through. And I don't know if that always comes through or only sometimes that it comes through. But
well, it's funny because you're talking to your loved ones, right? And so they're going to give you information about what's going on with your physical body. And so they use me kind of as a medical medium. And I think that it's just part of being a medium.
So the mediumship comes from the crossed over loved ones. It's not necessarily being fed through like a spirit guide or your higher self.
Well, the guides communicate as well. Yeah. And so they're just past life connections. So, I mean, we're multi-dimensional beings, and so they're connected to us at some place in time. But usually, when mom or dad come through, they're going to mention your health or things that are going on in your body. They want to be of assistance in any way that they can. And guides will chime in on that stuff as well if it's pertinent to your life path. Like let's say you're a smoker and you are, you're developing an illness that's going to prevent you from serving your purpose, they're going to comment on it.
Right.
Which is, it's an interesting part of what I do because it gets pretty personal.
Well, yeah, I would be. And plus, I also want to ask in this, because I'm sure a lot of people would be curious, is how do you, like, when you're in the process of getting the crossover loved ones and they're sharing, something's going on with them, or something's going on with that person physically, do they actually say that they see it, or are they just energetically like feeling it because they don't have physical bodies to have eyes to see what's going on? Are they scanning?
Well, okay, so it comes through in kind of 2 ways for me. 3 ways, actually. So I will feel inside my body anything that may be going on with you, or maybe something that identifies your loved one, like how they passed away or something that they suffered from when they were alive. Or they'll also comment on other living loved ones because they want to make sure they get all their messages delivered. So I'll feel it. Like, let's say you're not drinking enough water. I feel dehydrated when I talk to you. And my kidneys will hurt if it's severe dehydration.
Right.
And I just have to tune in to like, okay, I wasn't feeling this before I started talking to you. Yeah. And generally when I identify it, the pain will subside. But it's very real feeling on my side. Yeah. So and then I'll, another way that it comes through is if they don't specifically comment on it, what I'll do is I'll go through and scan the body. Yeah. And what it looks like to me is kind of like a thermal image.
Yes.
And so different parts of the body will light up where there's something off. That, or it comes in just in knowing. Well, I'll get something like, okay, your hormones are off, what's going on there? And then the 2 of us can get to the bottom of what's happening. And when they do identify health issues, oftentimes they'll give us indicators on how to heal those things, and also what may be causing them, because people are sometimes unaware that, like, oh, you have an allergy to chicken and that's why your skin's broken out.
Good point. Because it's not always apparent to everybody when they have something, like, usually, especially with allergies, when you don't know what the heck is causing it.
Yeah, it's really always fun when you have like a serious carnivore and you're like, that high blood pressure problem that you're having, like, it's from the meat you're eating.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything that is causing it, but you don't always attribute it directly to what your habits are. So It's nice that especially in that example of your parents, right? They're still your parents, so they're going to point stuff out even in afterlife.
Yeah, grandma and grandfather. Your loved ones can be very opinionated too. And so...
that's a good question too, is do they carry over the personalities that they had when they were here?
They do. They definitely do. I think that... I don't know exactly how it works, and I can't claim to know everything, even though I have a deeper knowledge of the way the universe is run, just because of the places I've been and the people that I've talked to. But it seems to me that every time you incarnate, that essence or emanation of self exists forever. It never fully goes away, and it may go back to the other side and weave back in with your higher self, but it exists somewhere. And so that is what I believe is coming through. So even if you've reincarnated, that essence of yourself can still come and communicate with me when I turn the light on to the other side.
It's really interesting. I have to say, like, everybody has a different way of tuning in and receiving information, so it's always interesting to know how other intuitives like receive their information. And this is, something to help you guys out with this. There is no one way to receive the information properly, because everyone is going to receive it differently. Like, you receive the information that comes into your body, you feel it, you either get a sense for
images. I'm like watching someone else's memories in my head. I have feelings, emotions that I have to translate into words. I have physical feelings that I get from, it's like your body kind of becomes mine, and I can feel everything that's going on. And so I get information in a lot of different ways. So one of the things that people ask a lot as well is, how do you tap into your own abilities? Because I'm not the only one that has these gifts. This is what our DNA is structured to do. Everyone's capable of doing these things. It just depends on how many lives you've spent doing them, how easy it is to access in your 3D form. But that's the goal, is where we're all going, right? And beyond. There's some people on this planet that have amazing superhuman abilities. And so I just want to share a little bit about how I kind of tapped into this stuff. We talked a little bit about frequency, and we talked about how, it's all about matching your frequency to the information. Well, I'm going to explain how I started doing that. So when I was a kid, I was unaware of what I was doing, but this is how I learned to manipulate energy. Was that I started by, I had older grandparents, and they always had those blood pressure cuffs around the house. Or I would go, to a pharmacy, and they'd have them there. And so I would test my blood pressure, and then I would attempt to lower it and lower my heart rate, just with using the energy in my body. And so I would bring up all the energy and kind of slow it down and push it down, 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 until I would test it again, and my blood pressure and my heart rate would be lower. And so that's how I first started manipulating energy. And then after I had done that, I started working with blocking pain from my body, because, as you may know, pain is a mental reaction to a nerve stimulation, and so we can choose whether or not we want to feel it. It's just there to alert us of danger. And so I started with blocking pain from my body, using that same way of gathering energy to slow my heart down. I would send it to the area that was in pain and block the pain from being received in my brain. And so I would do that for longer and longer until I felt confident in that ability. And then after that, I started working with dogs and babies, where I would gather up all the energy, calming energy, and I'd put babies to sleep, and I'd put dogs to sleep by sending my chi into them. And then I started working on full-grown humans after I accomplished the dogs and the babies, because they're pretty easy.
I would imagine a lot of people are going to be liking the pain blocking part of things. So is that something that you actually can teach somebody how to do, since you've actually done it?
It's really actually simple. So that's another thing, is that all of this stuff, even the emotional stuff, is really easy in theory. It's just a little bit harder in application, the practical application of it. So this was it. I would picture energy in my body like a white light, and I would picture it condensing into a space, and I would send it to wherever the pain was, and then I would hold it and block the reception of pain. And that's really how I did it.
So was the light collecting the pain for you in your visual?
Yeah, it was kind of like
blocking?
shielding it.
Okay.
Yeah, like blocking it out. And then as I got older, I started getting into ink. Got some tattoos. And so that was a really great way to practice that. Where
Yes.
I had this one piece on my leg that took about 3.5 hours that I felt nothing. Wow. Absolutely nothing. And so, I mean, you see these people that do the sun dance ritual. I mean, that is insane. Like,
that's some pain there.
But it shows you what you're capable of. I mean, these people suspend from a tree for like 3 days with no water.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get that intense. I'm just trying to talk to some dead people.
Wow, yeah, that's an intense, those are intense rituals when you get into that. And sometimes we kind of wonder why people are inflicting pain upon themselves like that. Well, we know
but you don't
behind
feel it.
But you don't feel
You don't feel it, right? It's like, it's so liberating. It's so empowering when you start to overcome the perception of reality.
Yeah,
right?
I think that you and I both agree on this in terms of empowering ourselves. That's what we're really doing here, is to start to realize that we have so much more power within us than we ever even give ourselves credit for. Most of the time we feel very disempowered on this planet with everything that has been disempowering us, but yet we're reclaiming our own sovereignty and our own power now within these realms of like, helping ourselves with pain, helping our own energies, to our own energy frequencies to expand. We're doing that. And we're doing that in a large way right now, which is this whole awakening on the planet. So I think it's really powerful for people to know and to not feel like there's nothing they can do.
Exactly. There is, I think that, that feeling of hopelessness and that feeling of helplessness is part of the agenda to disempower you. Yeah. And so I talk about this too, and sometimes with the people that I feel very fortunate to work with, doing sessions with, a lot of them are very miserable in their situation and feel so hopeless. Mm-hmm. And it's an interesting thing because you can change that without changing any of your circumstances. Right. Because life is going to happen to you no matter what. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. And so the only thing that you control is your attitude towards it. And I feel like enlightenment is this cosmic joke. And it's like we're all sitting in cages and demanding and shouting at the sky for the keys to get out. And none of us thought to turn the handle and find out the door's been open the whole time.
I've used that example before because it's so true. We're like, I want to fly. It's like, well, then just turn the lever and fly. Yeah. So that's a great, is this really an emulation of what our society is and how we have limited ourselves to that extent. I also want to, in the beginning we talked, you just mentioned it, but I want to, in case somebody doesn't know where to find the information, it's on Tolek from Dakota on YouTube. There are 5 segments of Ms. M and Mr. M. And I want you guys to, go and watch those if you want to know more about the history and the background of all the financial stuff of this, that they're heavily involved in that, but yet that's where that information is. It's on that YouTube channel, so go check all of that stuff out.
Yeah, you can also visit our website for the show, which is deepdisclosure.com, and that gives you some updates about what we're doing and also links to all the different interviews that we've done, and then information about upcoming events that we're doing, live events.
Awesome.
And so
what I also wanted to ask you though, is there anything that you can share with people about what is coming or what may be coming up? You mentioned something happening.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a little bit more background into where these messages are coming from before I share them, just to validate the source a little bit.
Okay.
And that, this is where we get a little weird.
Weird is good.
Okay. So after I started working with this medium, I had an experience where I left my body and I realized I had the ability to astral travel, and that the night after that happened for the first time, I was woken in the middle of the night by three ancient beings who happened to live in the inner earth, who loaded me up onto a shuttle and took me down there to explain to me why I was here on the planet and what I was going to be doing in the next few years and how that was going to contribute to saving the world. And so they took me over the course of a year and downloaded me on what I was meant to do. And they helped me remember who I was in past lives. And that information led me to my partner, who I've been working with directly for the last 4 years, and our extended group of people who have been working on the financial reset of the planet. So some people may know of a group that's referred to as the Earth Alliance. We would be a faction of the Earth Alliance, in that we're working on all the financial stuff. So when people mention that's us. It's a very small group of people, and the role that I play within that group is that I bring through information from our friends in the sky. So many of you may be familiar with the Galactic Federation. There is a faction of that I refer to as the High Council, because there are many galactic councils. This one is comprised of all of the ascended masters, and by that I mean people that you would recognize, like Buddha and Jesus and Saint Germain and El Morya and all the typical characters, the Babas and such, which are really cool and fascinating people to converse with. And 4 years ago, when I started doing this work with the Alliance, I was put in direct communication with them. So I basically have a direct line up to the ship. I go up there occasionally for downloads and information, but I'm able to tune in at will and get updates from them. And so a lot of interesting stuff is going on this year. And we've had waves of energy that have been coming in over the last couple of years, these solar flares, and everybody's aware of those. But in the last, 6 months or so, they've really amped up. And so we're having like mass coronal ejections and huge waves of consciousness hitting the planet, because that's what solar energy is. It's intelligence. It's divine intelligence. And so every one that hits us is integrating us more with our higher selves. And so we had a massive one back in March that was really intense, and they've kind of just been building an energy since then. We have something on this planet that we call the Schumann resonance, and which measures the planetary vibration. And so for most of human history, that vibration has been at 7.83 hertz. However, in the last year or so, last couple of years, it has been spiking to unbelievable record highs. So it's gone all the way up to 90. In the last couple of weeks, it's been spiking to 70 on a regular basis. And so there's some really huge energetic shifts that are happening right now. And so in one of the last channelings that I had with the galactic beings, and also in some of the readings that I've done, I have heard from our friends in the sky that there is another major wave coming, equal to the one we had in March, if not bigger, that should hit sometime in mid-July is what I'm feeling. I keep seeing fireworks and watermelons. They have a funny way of communicating with me. I have kind of a shorthand, so I've discovered that watermelon means summer to them.
That makes sense.
And so...
unless one of them really likes watermelon.
Yeah, unless it's really good, so.
That's funny.
You'd be surprised at how much your loved ones talk about food. So they're pointing at this bigger wave of energy that's coming in. And they're encouraging us to prepare ourselves, to brace ourselves for this, because they're indicating that there may be some energetic fallout from this wave that's coming, and so it's necessary for it to hit us because it helps to evolve the consciousness on the planet.
Now, are they saying energetic fallout, meaning that some people could really lose it from this?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Mentally, spiritually, or emotionally.
It's really, and it's really great that came up too, because I was going to talk about this as well. Is that and this is just about life in general, but especially for these waves, when they come in, you have to have an attitude of gratitude. You have to be in a positive place. You have to take the reins of your path of ascension, because if you don't, then it's going to happen one way or another. And so you're going to feel this energy whether you're riding the wave or getting hit by the wave.
Yeah.
And so if you are in a good place mentally, emotionally, you're grounded, you're walking around and with an attitude of gratitude, then you're going to feel amazing. You're going to be walking on sunshine when these waves hit you. But if you're not, you will feel them regardless. And so when you are not in accordance with the divine frequency, it has a way of like spinning you out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and I've talked about this too, because I also do energetic clearings and entity removals. And the thing is about these entities that attach to you is that they just amplify the worst parts of you. And so
that's so true. Yeah.
So it's kind of like drinking, right? Like, some people are really nice, fun drunks, and they're a blast to be around, but some people are really not that nice, and it's like their altar comes out, and so it's going to amplify whatever's the underlying thing.
Or if you haven't dealt with your issues, and you've purposely put them underneath the rug and the couch, I would imagine this is going to bring it out.
Yeah, and they're talking about veils dropping.
Yeah, big time. I think we've been experiencing that, and everyone knows what that means. The veils have been dropping, but this big, another wave. I think each wave may be getting us in a little bit more preparation, and then we go for a while integrating some of that, and then another big wave because we're ready to go to the next, and then we have to integrate that.
Yeah.
So it is a process for all of us.
Yeah, and the whole awakening for myself and other people that I know, it comes through in waves, even if it's just an individual thing. So it's kind of like just a little bit at a time, and you think that like, oh my God, like, so we're sitting here like demanding, like, I want more, give it to me, like, lay it on me.
Maybe and then watch your words.
Yeah, be careful what you ask for, because they will lay it on you. And sometimes it takes a while to integrate with this higher energy.
Yeah.
And I personally had a weave happen in back in November. I got weaved with 2 aspects of my higher self, and it was a really intense experience that I can't say anything would have mentally prepared me for what happened. And the energy of it, the just the strangeness and newness of it, and then the time that it took for me to feel like myself again after integrating with higher aspects of myself. And of course I tuned in and checked out and made sure I wasn't hosting something I shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's always a good first thing to do, right? Test the spirits.
Yeah. And so it really was a weaving that happened, a braiding of 2 of my higher dimensional selves into this 3D body, which was really intense, and I swear it took a couple weeks to feel normal again. Yeah. And then this is something else that I wanted to talk about too, because this is something the Galactics shared, and it's something that I personally experienced, and I talked a little bit about this in the last episode, but I'm talking to more and more people, and it's happening to them, including your partner Stands with Bear. I think this is like I think that's what experience that he just had, where I was sitting in a living room with some friends, and somebody asked me a question, and all of a sudden I was like miles away.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I couldn't see their faces. It was very blurred.
It's like you're there, you didn't leave, but energetically you're somewhere else.
And I couldn't hear properly, like I couldn't respond to their questions. It took me a few minutes to start to feel back in my body, and then it took me a couple hours to feel normal again. Yeah. And so a couple weeks after that experience, I was tuning in, and our sky friend said to me, this is you like transition to a different dimensional reality. And everybody is kind of going through that process right now, and it's happening over the next 6 months. So
this is going to be happening more and more to people. So this is something they want us to be aware of.
Yeah.
That if you just are lost somewhere at the moment and talking to somebody and you feel like you're somewhere else and then you come back, that you've just shifted into a different dimension.
Yeah.
And then came back.
Yeah.
So it's like this is part of the veils, lifting or thinning, if you want to say that. But do they have any advice for us on that? Where how we can better, deal with it without making it seem like, wow, we're just kind of going crazy here. For the people that aren't really that, it's not they're used to it. Where none of us are really used to it here. But is there something that they have that can help us to integrate, to deal with that, if we're going to be going in that direction?
Well, I think just being mindful of the fact that it's happening, so that when it does happen, that you're not like losing it.
Yeah, because you'd be like, this is bizarre.
There's been many times along this journey and this path that I've thought of like, okay, that's it. I finally have lost my mind.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it. I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It happened.
Yeah. Let's take it from the top, guys. We've gone crazy.
I mean, it happens to all of us. I think that in this field, and everybody really on the planet has kind of had that question in their mind one time or another, if not more, because there's so many new things that are coming in that we can't explain. Yeah. We can't explain the things disappearing. I mean, we had it happen here. I'm just telling you a short, brief story because it's pretty funny. Yeah. But we had the remote was missing and we couldn't find it anywhere for days. Like, we don't take it out of the room, out of the house. There was nowhere to be found. Okay? We're like, gave up on it. Then I come into my office. I'm sitting here in the chair and the remote just falls right out of like nowhere down on the floor. It wasn't in the chair. I mean, I looked it's like it went into a portal somewhere and just kind of disappeared back down like days later. So, these kinds of things are the things where you kind of go, what? But here's
the bright side of all of that. Here's the good takeaway from all of it is that we are all living in a collective illusion. And this is all fiction. And it's just a fiction that we've agreed upon. Right. And so if we want it to change, all we have to do is change our mindset and change our viewpoints, and we can change the reality that we're living in. Because
that's very true.
Nothing is really concrete. Nothing is really tangible. And just because we see it and feel it doesn't mean that it's real. And so this reality is, along with all the other ones that we're living concurrently. Yeah. None of them are actually the real. The only thing.
And then if you think about the reality, if it's the dream time, or is that the reality, or is this the reality? Because that is becoming very, very thin now.
Which one is the dream time?
Which one's the real? Yeah, you don't know. You're waking up going, I swear that felt like it was just a total reality, just like it is here. So I think that we're all going through an adjustment process with all of these new things happening. So is there anything else you want to share about what they want to share with us about that? This new wave may be coming forth in July.
Well, they're indicating that along with the wave is coming heightened sense of abilities and upgrades to individuals.
Upgrades!
So we're getting upgrades, which is exciting, right?
Yeah.
Because so if everything's frequency, then the people in the higher dimensions are just simply vibrating a higher frequency than we are. And so if we're in the third dimension and we vibrate at a higher frequency, we can tap into fourth and fifth dimensional abilities. Well, when we go up to into like a fourth or fifth dimension perceptive reality and frequency, then we can tap into things that are sixth and seventh dimensional if we're advanced in that way. And so it's all about frequency and tuning in, and so everybody is getting upgraded. Everyone's getting braided in more with their higher selves, and I think that is what essentially is happening with this golden age and golden gate that we're approaching, is that we are becoming more of who we are. And that's why people are starting to remember who they've been in the past, because if you understand time is really just a flat circle and it's all happening at once, then all those past versions of you are current versions of you, and the more you tune into them and weave them into your current reality and the eternal now moment, the more you can use the gifts that they've accomplished in their incarnation.
Which is all you.
Exactly.
So it's kind of that's a perfect, like, it's just a perfect visual. It's like all these different realities, multidimensional aspects are you.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get, if you have 3,000 plus, it's hard to get them all in all at once. We have to sort of take it a little bit at a time to where our nervous systems can handle it and not short circuit.
Yeah, so they're indicating that we're weaving in more and more of ourselves as time marches on.
Nice.
In this timeline.
Well, I'm excited, and I know all of you guys are excited listening to this too. And it's been an honor to have you on here sharing your perspectives and what you do. And again, tell people how they can get a hold of you if they want to learn more. We know that Tolek has his YouTube channel, but is there a way to get a hold of you for sessions?
So I have a website called divinemissm.com, and that's Ms. M.
So DIVINEMSM.com.
And on there you can find a list of services that I offer and a description of what it is that I do. You can also learn more about what we're doing on deepdisclosure.com. Mm-hmm. And right now, the Friends in the Sky have asked us to do more massive activations and mass meditations and large gatherings of the sort. And so we have responded by creating an event that we are hosting here in July. And that's July 28th. And it is a day of activations and sound healing and light language performance.
It's at the Creative Life Center here in Sedona. Yeah. So those of you who want to make your plans to try to get here, because it's going to be really awesome.
Which we'll have Lightstar performing.
But of course,
a special treat.
We have a few people that are going to be there. So I'm, just a healing. So it's like a healing experience. Some music, some sound healing, and
some channeling. We got that's really exciting. A good dear friend of ours, Nicole Angel, who channels Metatron, is going to do a live channeling for everybody, which is an absolute treat.
It's going to be great, you guys. Yeah. So just put that on your calendars or get out here if you can.
Yeah, you can buy tickets on deepdisclosure.com under events.
And I'll have, I will have this on my YouTube channel in the description below. I'm going to have all these links there. So if you didn't get the links there, just go ahead and check it out in the description. So I think that's a wrap for now. Thank you so much for being on here. We are going to have Mr. M, if not is before or after, one of the two, when we're having them on separately. And then I will have them on together at some point as well. So stay tuned. And thanks you guys for listening. And just be open, be prepared. Be as loving and open-hearted and gratitude and all of that as possible. Any last words?
No, I think that's it. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and share some of my life with whoever's listening. And
thank you. We so appreciate it.
Come and join the spiritual revolution with us.
That's right. All right. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Bye. Okay guys, well it was super awesome to have you join me today. If you'd like to have more information and join this tribe and get more light language activations, oracle consciousness readings, and a lot more coming forth, then go ahead and join the YouTube tribe here so we can keep you in the loop. And if you'd like to work with me further, you can also visit my website at lightstarcreations.com, where you can learn more about all my session work for star seeds, and also providing light language activations, oracle readings, my artwork, my oracle deck, which is the Magical Dimensions oracle deck, and a lot more. So go check it all out on my website, and we will see you guys really soon. Bye now.